We're going to get into why I did not vote for Black Love last night and a male creator who has hit several points on the head. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking. Today is Wednesday, and that means it's time to pull y'all for a chat because there is no episode tonight. And I forgot to mention in my review last night that tomorrow is Family Day. Usually they wait till like the top 5. So to me, it feels like production is extending the time to have, you know what I'm saying, Kenzie and Casey and them in the villa. I paid production's game, and they have zero intentions, obviously, at this point of bringing any other bombshells since there's only a couple of days left of the show. In this video, you guys, though, I want to talk to y'all why I did not vote for Black Love yesterday, why I did not fall for the Casey and the Titi of it all yesterday, and all the things. And I want to shout out a creator on the Tickety Talk by the name of King Jawan, because here's the thing. I can say what I got to say all day, but it's nice when a man, you know what I'm saying, sees the play, is an A1 Day 1 Love Island watcher, such as myself, that sees everything, right? I called out that I didn't like how Casey's eyes lit up when Aniyah said her father was a former NBA athlete. I didn't like the chivalry conversation that him and Aniyah had, where he basically said chivalry is DEAD. I'm not going to put a jacket in the pool of water for you if it's raining. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And then once he asks Aniyah what she feels chivalry is, he starts to switch up a little bit. But keep in mind, Aniyah is all about the fairy tales, the grand gestures, the Prince Charming of it all. Casey said he's not into that. But all of a sudden, you do something that resembles something along the lines of a grand gesture. But the biggest issue that I had last night with the grand gesture was Ian Sterling called it out and said it's still all about Casey. That Casey planned this scavenger hunt, but basically it was all about him to show that he's the prize. All of the photos were about him. It was not any pictures with him and Titi. It was not like even in seasons past where other Islanders have done stuff like this. Go to this station. You know what I'm saying? They'll make it about their couple. Okay, go here. Go to the location where we had our first kiss. Go to the location where we had our first conversation of what it's going to look like when we get outside of the villa. You know what I'm saying? They'll try to have memorable moments. All of this was like, listen, I got some pans in this picture. Where do you find the pans? You know what I'm saying? I got some fire in this picture. Where do you find fire? You know what I'm saying? I got some sand in this picture. Where do you find sand? It had nothing to do with their connection. And Casey told Sincere that, you know, since Tay has been holding him down and they're not, you know, they're not on the bottom of the America vote, that now all of a sudden after a few days, she's worthy. You know what I'm saying? That as long as she holds it down and does everything for Casey, you get promoted. No. I have never heard such things before. That he's not going to put in any effort with her. He's not going to try with her. But y'all are hyping this up, and I don't understand. I really don't understand how y'all are believing all this. And then Tay went from saying she never had a boyfriend, she's not in love with Casey, she's got love for him, completely doing a 180 by the end of the episode, talking about I'm in love with Casey. No. And y'all are falling for this. This is a professional dating show person who's been on several dating shows, who has restraining orders because of other men she's been entangled with. But y'all are falling for the trap. Y'all are falling for the trap. Y'all are falling for the okie doke. But last season, when Ace did that performative letter that was all about himself in the hideaway to Shelly, they got the boot. You know what I'm saying? When Taylor did that girlfriend proposal for him and Clark, you know what I'm saying? With the cheering and all this and all that. Y'all called him performative. They got the boot. And ultimately, Taylor is not as bad as what happened this season with Casey. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, there are some clips that I want to get into and give some commentary on that I feel as though this gentleman, King Jawan, on the Tickety Talk has really hit a lot of things on the head. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go through a couple of these clips, give some commentary, and go from there.
All right, let's kick this shit off. Okay, day one, nobody stood behind his door. Initiated. Ego. Number two, Aniyah told him, my dad is a famous basketball player. That means he gonna be the broke one in the relationship. Initiated. Insecurity. Number three, Zach called him out for not exploring. Initiated the demise of his plan to scam and like take Aniyah to, to the finals and just, win that 100K. Number four, continued to watch Sincere and Corbin get all the women and nobody really wanted him for real. Initiated jealousy. Number five, changed his whole personality from the beginning of the season to mimic Corbin. Initiated a copying ass bitch. And number six, movie night, the grand finale that would literally put him at the top of one of the worst niggas in Love Island history.
No notes so far. We got a couple more clips. The only thing I would add is he was, putting 20 on 10, calling Aniyah the blueprint, calling her a beautiful black woman. Notice he's not doing any of that foolishness with no TT. Let's continue.
KC finally said what we've been saying. He had resentment towards Aniyah. He wanted to make Aniyah feel small in there, like we said. The mans was going on a fucking power trip. Now he see how he look on the TV. He like, oh shit, the people at home watching this, they see this how I move. But this not how I want to be perceived by the public. I want those brand deals. I want to win. If they had a don't leave women around this man section in the dictionary, a picture of Corbin would be on that bitch. And this Melanie and Sincere saga gotta end. It gotta end. It really do. Like, I feel like it's not gonna end unless Melanie actually ended. I feel like Sincere is a people pleaser. He's gonna continue to stay in that. If you allow him to continue to do what he do, he's gonna stay. He's not gonna be the one to break it off. Melanie, you gotta break that shit off.
I've seen this before happen, and some of this may have happened in y'all personal lives as well, where if there's a huge contrast, you know what I'm saying? Whether, one person came from a successful family, somebody came from a not so successful, somebody had a 2-parent household, somebody didn't, or whatever the case may be, or you might be successful or more educated, they're not, or whatever else. If the person was not confident and secure in themselves of whatever other qualities they brought to the table that was in imbalance with you, what would happen is they would take it out on you. Aniyah became the face of all of KC's resentment, but really he hates all of the OG girls because none of them picked him, even with him being in that villa for 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, he wanted to explore Soul, but he knew that could potentially put him up one out of this villa if he really went through it. And I also saw the moment that Soul cried about anything, he wanted to give her a hug. He wanted to comfort her. He didn't want to see people cry. But when Aniyah had a full-on breakdown, you know what I'm saying? He could care less. He was over there laughing with Titi and Corbin and everybody, and he didn't care. He didn't give an F. Let's continue.
KC was in that bitch like, you black queen, you pretty for a black girl, you black queen. When I think of a black girl, I think of you. I don't be thinking of them light-skinned bitches, I think of you, you black queen. This all you have to do, KC.
They have very natural beauty. Yeah.
See how Carl gave Aniyah compliments without mentioning her fucking skin color every fucking 5 seconds? Every fucking 5 seconds. So now you see why we think that shit was kind of like performative. You feel me? You don't have to do all of that. Don't nobody do that in real life.
And the thing of it is, I never heard not one comment to Tay or Soul about their skin tones or any of these things. That they're the blueprint. That when I think of black women, I think of you. In fact, KC specifically called Titi that she's like his mom and like his sister. And that he likes the fact that she speaks up for him and defends him and holds him down. Let's continue.
Y'all already know what I'm about to say. I've been watching this show since 2019. I don't think nobody ever brought a motherfucker back from Casa Amor and made the girl they girlfriend or some shit like that fast. This nigga is playing the game so fucking good, bro. Y'all cannot. This nigga is playing the game. What I told y'all my last fucking videos. This nigga watched this show. He studied this fucking show. At first, he thought the world hated him and TT. But then now he like, oh, maybe they do like us, kinda. You get what I'm saying? So let's kick it up a notch. Let me make her my girlfriend so it can secure me a spot in that fucking finale. And guess what? Me and TT might win 100K. You never know.
There's one more clip, but I believe absolutely Casey has studied this show. I kept calling, you know what I'm saying? I was calling Sincere Johnny 2.0 because I thought he was going to do his biggest one at Casa Amor. But Casey, to me, has been on a Caleb from season 2, a Timmy from season 4, type of a Tyreek, Dami, type of, you know what I'm saying? Type of combination. But then the Johnny date yesterday really just sealed it. Johnny did a similar thing with the flowers and everything else after he did Selly dirty, you know what I'm saying? The whole show and all of this and all of that. Now, ultimately, there is one other point that I want to talk about that I feel was a part of Casey's game, but it's going to be after this last clip that I'll explain.
I feel bad for TT because I'm actually starting to like her. So I feel real bad for TT, but KC is going to like do her so dirty once they out of the villa. Like, am I praying on their downfall? Maybe. But it's got nothing to do with TT. Everything to do with KC because I think the nigga scamming. I think the nigga been scamming since day one. I think he tried to scam with Aniyah, but it didn't go his way. Aniyah was talking back too much. So he found the motherfucker that, you know, was able to shut up and let him do his thing. And, you know, he's doing his thing. And if all you niggas wake up, snap out of it, you will see that KC only fuck with TT because of the things that she can do for him. The nigga got that boat and he was like, hey, wait. Put me back in, coach. I've been watching this shit for a long time, and nobody ever did that. I never seen that shit. Like a motherfucker from Casa Amor to boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, not even last season. They just did exclusive. Like, what the?
I still think, even with the issues that Casey and Aniyah have, I still think, though the whole point was Casey felt a way that Sincere and Corbin were quote unquote hooping the whole show, right? That they always had something that they could, you know, tend to on the side. There were multiple women that were interested in him, and Casa Amor was basically, you know what I'm saying, spring break for KC, was passport bros trip for KC, was extended bachelor party where the women are focused on KC, right? And he specifically said, I've got all this aura. When I get back to the villa, my stocks are going to be up. He said that Aniyah was on thin ice. You know what I'm saying? And that he's going to have more leeway with her in any argument or anything else because he poured life into her. I don't believe Casey was completely done with Aniyah. I think the whole point, his whole plan, when him and Corbin were talking about that TT and Persian Cat were going to run the villa, I still believe his plan was he was hoping that Tay and Aniyah would fight for him, would fight over him, and get into it over him. He was not expecting Aniyah to be completely done with him. He was fine with Aniyah being miserable and being humiliated and humbled in the villa, but he did not anticipate Carl coming back onto the show. And then once they started to have sound conversations and give those apologies and all this and all that, I think KC realized what a good quality and caliber of a woman that Aniyah was, but he did too much for them to ever get back to the way that they were. And somebody, I can't remember who said this, but it's so true. I feel like Titi is the woman, you know what I'm saying, where Casey's at in his life right now. But Aniyah is the woman you know what I'm saying, that what Casey wants to be in the future. Once, when him and Aniyah were having those conversations about taking risks, about how Aniyah has encouraged him to, you know, come outside of his comfort zone and do other things, whether it pertains to school, whether it pertains to traveling, whether it pertains to, you know what I'm saying, other aspects of life. Whereas Titi is not having those conversations with Casey. Basically, she's there to, you know, be an emotional support system, and just let him, just continue to hold him down, continue to defend him in front of everyone, and speak up for him, cover for him if he's been messy. It was very strategic of Titi not to tell Aniyah or any of the girls how Casey was moving at Casa Amor. And that when Amora tried to put out there that nobody was as bad as Casey, you know what I'm saying? Once Titi heard that 2 or 3 times, she immediately pulled Amora away from those girls to make it, you know, seem as though, hey, we can't put Casey's business out there. He's already in the doghouse. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to get this shmoney. And I don't understand how people don't see that Titi's gaming too. That Titi is gaming too. And y'all are falling for it, and I don't understand. So we're going to see, but like I said, I don't believe for a second that Casey was completely done with Aniyah. I think what happened was whatever he was going to say to Aniyah, all of that fell out the window when Trinity, Kata, and Melanie were cussing Casey out. And then Aniyah's trying to explain herself, because I still believe, you know, a couple of things. She still liked Casey. I believe she didn't think that even whatever Casey was doing at Casa, that they would still be able to come back to each other, right? And also, I believe as well that, you know, Aniyah did that picking also of Casey, because Casey still was obsessed with nobody picking him day one. And that was Aniyah sacrificing her connection with Carl, that she was happier with Carl, to prove to Casey that I still would pick you. Because you kept saying nobody picked you. And ultimately, things are never the same, right? Things were absolutely never the same. There were times, like I said, even when him and Aniyah were not speaking after the whole Casa Amor blow up, he was completely miserable for several days. And Titi could not do anything to cheer him up. It wasn't until his conversations with Aniyah that he was cheered up. Which speaks to me that the level of how much emotionally connected they were, you know what I'm saying, spoke to that. And that's why I can't be sold on the TT and the KC of it all. I wish them well. I hope they work out. But we saw this movie before. We've seen this movie before several times where these men in these young 20s, you know what I'm saying, are going to come out of this show with all this fanfare, with all this attention, with all these girls that are going to be in their DMs, all these girls that are going to be all over them at these club appearances, you know what I'm saying, that are going to want to pace. That are going to want to pace, that are going to be like, oh, I can tell you better than Aniyah and Tay did on the show, and da-da-da-da-da. It's about to be wide open out here. You know what I'm saying? It's about to be wide open to where they don't gotta, you know, scam any of these relationships if they don't want to. That's why Brian got the HELL up one out of there, because he was like, listen, like I already did what I came to do, which was win the show. But basically, I still got aura. I still got attention because I was on Love Island. And that's how a lot of these men are going to move once this show concludes. And I can't believe y'all are falling for this. But we've seen this time and time again, especially with Johnny, especially with Timmy, how all these men switched up. Caleb switched up. All of these men switched up. You know what I'm saying? That they tried to keep up the scam for a little bit, but they couldn't. They couldn't do it because the temptation was too tempting out there. And Caleb allegedly had a whole girlfriend the whole time, but was willing to scam for some brand deals. It was a hot mess express. And y'all saw Kenny. Kenny was willing to lie for an entire year just to get some of these deals. But even he was not even getting the same deals as Janae, because ultimately I keep trying to tell y'all, yes, there's a new set of men that are watching the show, but a lot of them aren't watching the episodes. They're just watching clips on the Tickety Talk and Twitter, and then just trying to form their own opinions based off of that, but they're not watching the entire show through and through. And ultimately came in once they saw the disrespect of a black woman. Came in, started supporting Casey once they saw how he was treating Aniyah, and rallied behind him. But they don't understand that this show is about these women finding love. The female demographic of this show is what has made it popular. But unfortunately, people are trying to take this in another direction. And it's different from those of y'all that got y'all man, got your boyfriend and your husband watching the show. There's a whole nother group of men that are just out here trying to gamble, that are just out here trying to sabotage. There are some that have an insane hatred for Aniyah and are simply voting for Casey out of spite. And there's some black women that are doing this too, who hate everything about Aniyah. And I just wish they would admit it. I just wish they would admit it, because how is Aniyah the cause of everything? Aniyah's been chill. Ever since her and Carl, you know what I'm saying, have been back at it, she's been chill. She's been absolutely chill. She's been cool, calm, collected. What arguments are we seeing of Aniyah and Carl? You know what I'm saying? What issues are we seeing of Aniyah and Carl? Everything's been cool. Everything's been calm. Everything's been at a appropriate pace. So how can there be allegations of any Carl and Aniyah scamming, and they have not succumbed to any of this pressure in the villa to try to accelerate the progress of what their relationship is? That they're not, fazed by the America vote, that they got to fill out, we got to close off, we got to do something performative, we got to do something exclusive. What may happen is, if they do get confirmed to be a finalist, is at the most, you know what I'm saying, they may do something on their final day, right? They might say or do something on their final date in terms of more expressions of their feelings, but still, I would be shocked if it's anywhere along the lines of, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend, I'm in love with you, let's close off, let's be exclusive. I would be shook, because it hasn't been that long. You know what I'm saying? So, nonetheless, that's it for this video. I want to hear from y'all in the comments. I know y'all are going to have a lot to say, but do me the biggest favor, and that is to hype the video. Hype the video, please. There is that. That is it. That is all. It's todos es final. It's finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end of the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post some content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.